Hey everybody, Prep Nurse One here. Welcome, welcome. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. I think we're going to have a fun show. Hopefully we have some informative information. I literally, if I had wanted to, I could have sat down for like 6 hours and done nothing but give you guys stats. So I kind of broke it down a little bit just to kind of give you an idea of how bad economically this whole situation is going to affect us. And we're going to go over all that in a minute. But I just want to remind people, if we have any issues with the connection or anything like that, please be patient. I will get right back on as soon as I possibly can. So just wait for that. And I wonder if this virus was not an accident. China wants to control the world. You know what, Wayne Dahl? I think it was. I think it was, like I said, it's either accidentally or was released on purpose. One of the two. And any government can use that for their own agenda, of course, control and all those type of things. But we can get into all that. But I appreciate that comment. So anyway, again, this is a very family-friendly oriented channel. So please be decent in the chat with each other. No racism, no nastiness. Because if you do that, my awesome moderators will boot you out of here. So just be decent. That's all that I ask, okay? So anyway, if you have and the other thing, if you have any questions, all cap lock so they stand out for me, because it just helps with that, okay? So we've had a cold day up here at the homestead, and we've been in the 30s for the most part today. BD says, hey, Prepper Nurse One, thank you for all that you do. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the support. The support means a lot. It really, truly does, and I do appreciate that. So, all right, so let's get into this economically, how bad things are going to be. So first I want to say, the longer this thing plays out, the worse it's going to be for the economy, okay? It's just, it's going to be really, really bad, no matter what. Like, honestly, if it ended today and it was done today, it would have an impact and it would have an effect on a lot of small businesses. You got to understand, with a lot of small businesses, I talked to a buddy of mine, and him and his wife run a restaurant, okay, in Rochester, New York. And they were in another location, but then they moved into Rochester, and that's where their business is now. Well, they did this a few years ago, and he told me, and this is coming directly from somebody who's running a business, a restaurant. He said they had taken out $75,000 in loans, okay, and they did their due diligence, and they worked hard, and their business did very, very well because they had a good product and stuff like that. And what ended up happening is they paid off those loans. But he said to me, he goes, now I want you to think about this, Ed. He said, if we had not paid off those loans, okay, and now this thing happens. Hey, Prepper Chris One, Kara Limon, Ed, comments on the packing plants closing. And I'm crazy if I wear a full biohazard. Am I crazy to wear a full biohazard gear? Hold on a second. Am I crazy if I wear a full biohazard gear suit, full mask and all? I don't think that's crazy at all. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your family. You're protecting those around you. So if you wear that, that's not a problem. So, but hold on a second. I want to read this comment because I think it's important. Joe just said, I believe we are heading to war with China. The only thing that gets you out of a recession or depression is generally war. So could be China, it could be something else, but generally war is how the governments get out of a recession. So that's definitely something to think about in the future. They're already, okay, and I want you guys to think about this, because that comment's important, because it does make a lot of sense. Because right now, fingers are being pointed, blame is being assessed by people. Who's at fault for this virus, right? So think about that. And a lot of people are pointing that finger at China. COVID unit, critical care, CNA. Can't buy seeds in Michigan anymore. Seems illegal to me. Yeah, that does seem illegal. That is crazy that they can't get seeds. It's really weird. Thank you for that donation as well. It's really weird what is happening with everything now. We're gonna go. I'm not going to talk about food tonight because we're going to save that for Sunday. And I got a ton of information already that I got ready for you guys for Sunday. But yeah, we're going to talk about the seeds and everything else with that on Sunday. Just a lot of very bizarre things happening with that whole situation there. But I want to kind of stick with the whole economic part of it tonight. And then Sunday, trust me, we're going to get into food shortages, what's going on with the farmers, everything from where they're dumping milk, where they're plowing crops back underground. It's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. Okay, so we're going to get into all that, but that's going to be Sunday. All right. So economically, let's talk about something really. Ed, are we heading for a recession or a Great Depression? Terrence Parker Jr. My opinion, we're headed for a Great Depression, worse than the Great Depression that happened back in 1929. Matthew Kelly, thank you for what you do. You are a great American. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and thank you so much for that donation as well. I appreciate that. So I want to talk about this real quick, guys. We had 6.6 million people applied for unemployment during the week ending March 28th. Okay, so that's a lot of people applying for unemployment all at the same time. The online system has been bogged down by the high demand and the backlog. All right, so a lot of people are trying to file unemployment online. They're having issues. They can't get in. They can't do stuff. Okay. In the last couple of weeks, more than 17 million Americans have been laid off, and that number is going to do nothing but continue to go up as this thing continues to progress. Okay, let's see. More than 1 in 10 workers have lost a job in the last 3 weeks, and I want you to think about that. We're going to get into more stuff with that in a minute. Okay. Hey, Marky Sparky, thank you very much for the donation. I do appreciate that. Thank you. I want you to think of that. 1 in 10 workers have lost their job just in the last 3 weeks. Okay. So I got a buddy of mine, and I don't think he minds me talking about him, but he lives in Maryland. Okay. And he was laid off from his job because of the whole thing. They shut all these small businesses down, and he got paid for a couple weeks. Well, this week coming up, this next week is the last week he's getting paid. Prepper Chris 1. Now I truly understand COVID. Hold on a second. You suffocate more people out of work than the Great Depression. Things are relative. Yeah, it's going to be really bad. Josh 350 Cummings, or 3500 Cummings, sorry. I'm so tired of hearing about Quan. Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of things I can tell you right now that have been going out there and people are spreading that I'm tired of hearing about myself. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's a lot of false information going out there. So that's why I wanted to talk about this, because this is relative, this is relevant, and this is real, okay? What's happening with the economy is no joke, none whatsoever, okay? So, but getting back to what I was saying now, so my buddy, his last check that he's getting from work, because they gave him a paid leave for a few weeks, and then they had to apply for unemployment. He gets his last check this next week. Now, he applied for unemployment online, and again, just like I was saying, the system's bogged down, it's slow. He's dealing with that aspect of it right now. So he's got his thing in, but they're saying that they're behind and all that type of stuff. How is our, that's a very good question, Rebecca. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I read that. Rebecca Colvin, how is our economy going to come back from this? You know what? It's going to be very difficult. Let me get back so I'm bouncing around here a little bit, and I don't mean to do that, but that's kind of what I do. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So, but I want to go back to this. So my buddy had to apply for employment, was having those issues. So that's what's going on with him. So that's happening to a lot of people right now. Okay, they're waiting, trying to get things squared away for their unemployment and all that. Now, going back to my other friend with the restaurant, they had paid their loans off, but he told me, he said, Ed, if we hadn't paid those loans off, he goes, we would be screwed right now. And that business would close, and then that would be the end of it. They wouldn't be coming back from that, okay? So that's happening to a lot of small businesses. A lot of small businesses cannot handle what is going on, even with loans that they're going to give people, okay? Even if they're giving people loans to try to keep people on staff and keep people working. Like my buddy told me, they had to lay off staff. So it's basically him and his wife doing takeout orders and stuff like that right now. And he goes, we need to make, and he gave me a number, and I won't say what it was, per day to stay afloat. And he goes, so far we've been doing okay. But, you know, it's just, it's a situation, folks, where this is really, really bad. I mean, being in, you know, not getting around and all these businesses being closed and no traveling and all these type of things, it's going to have a huge, huge impact. I'm going to talk about some numbers, and I'm just going to use Florida. That's all I'm going to use when I talk about some of these numbers, okay? Like in the last week in Florida alone, over 500,000 people applied for unemployment in the last week alone, just out of Florida, okay? So I want to talk about some of these numbers out of Florida. And I thought this was really, really telling, and I thought this was really, really important, okay? 14% of Central Florida's more than 125,000 hotel rooms were occupied from March 22nd to March 28th. Okay, 14% were occupied. Now, you would think, well, that's not good, right? But in the normal season, in the same time frame, more than 80% of the rooms would be filled. So that's a huge difference for the hotel owners. So let's look at the breakdown of that alone. So you've got 14% of these rooms are filled when it's normally 80%. You have